Psychotechnologies Live. Welcome to a potentially very boring and
Oh,
directionless
oof,
episode,
ouch.
but the stakes are high. So, I got some neck pain. I woke up this morning and I can't really bend my neck, straighten my neck. It's like kind of in this bent condition. And it doesn't like hurt that much as long as I don't move it too much. But it's really annoying and I don't like it. And Elliot says that he can cure me of all of my physical ailments
Maybe I'm a wizard or
um,
something. I don't
in
know.
an hour or less without like doing any massage or anything like that. Just through psychotechnologies. I love psychotechnologies, but I am pretty skeptical. So he was very confident. So we're gonna do it, and I'm going to jump in.
I am probably overconfident, but that's fine. Get that right. Okay. So to start with, can you tell me more about what's going on? Like where in the body is it?
I also took a muscle relaxant like
Okay.
40 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago. It
So,
should have kicked in, but it hasn't really done anything. And I took naproxen, which is a painkiller, by accident. I thought my wife was giving me the muscle relaxant, but she gave me the painkiller. And I'm like, this isn't, my muscles are not relaxing at all. And my body feels tingly. Not like, my body feels kind of like light and good.
okay. Where do you feel?
I feel it's okay. So it's like big in my neck. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
So back of the neck, front of the neck, side of the neck?
Um,
Back.
like cervical, bottom of the cervical vertebrae. So maybe like C5 to T3, something like that.
You want me to pull up a diagram of that?
Um, so if you're following at home, you don't know anatomy. There's a big bone at the back of at the base of your neck that sticks out. So that one is C7. So it's the last cervical vertebrae. Cervical is like the vertebrae in your neck. So the first vertebrae in your spine. So I'd say like around there.
Yeah, I found
Honestly,
it.
talking about this feels better.
Okay, so C5 sort of there, halfway.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just sharing the area.
Right. So it's sort of like lower half of the neck.
Yeah, it's like we're like the back of the neck, like where your neck so your neck curves inwards and then it curves out and then it curves outwards at like the top of your back.
Okay.
So like
Yes.
that kind of back, like I feel like I'm hunched, like if I had to live this way, I'd like be like a hunchback. I'd look like that. Hyperkyphosis, huh?
Like a Quasimodo style. Like
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what the politically correct term is, but
okay. Okay, so it's to the back of the neck. Um and what does it feel like? Like and these are like you said, even like noticing where it is has a little bit of something different. And then next question of like, what does it feel like? What are the sensations like? May add more information.
yeah. Um, it's I don't know how to describe this. So, like if I'm in the comfortable position, it doesn't feel like anything. Like there's a bit of like my head hurts a little bit, and like my neck's like other parts of my head are starting to hurt just because like from like holding that position because it's unnatural. Like my spine's not straight. But if I try to straighten out, um,
I assume that's like return to normal posture. Like if I try and be
yeah,
normal posture,
yeah,
then
if I'm trying to return to normal posture. Okay, so when I tilt my head back, I don't know how to describe it. Like I'm gonna describe this. I'm describing the sensations, not what I think is happening anatomically. Um, it feels like the vertebrae are kind of like pushing on each other.
mm,
So like my neck is like pushing against each other, and then it's like tilting in like weird directions.
mhm.
I don't think this is really what's like happening, but it's just that's like the sensations that are going on.
Mm.
Like the imagery, I guess, that comes to mind from the sensations. Yeah, and then there's like pain, but
Right.
it's like a discomfort, like kind of pain. I mean, it's like almost like a mental pain, I guess. Like like that pain you get when your body is in a bad position and you're like, if I stay in this position, like it's fine now, but if I stay in this position, then I'm going to suffer later. So if I try to straighten, that's what it feels like.
Mm, okay.
Like yeah, like if you're like sitting with yeah.
Is there, and like this becomes now exploratory questions. Are there ways to move that neck? Can you like explore like where's comfortable and where's not comfortable? Like where's your range?
Um yeah, there's like a little wiggle room. It was feeling really good when I was like I was lying down on the bed and I had like a bunch of pillows propped up. And then I have these glasses that do 90 degrees. So when you look, it looks down 90 degrees. And then so I was like eating cheese on my phone and holding the baby and just like propped up pillows for like 10 minutes before I was needed to like do stuff again.
Right. Okay, so like how much movement do you have? Like you said that if you try and straighten up, it starts to hurt, but how far forward can you go before, like is it better forward or worse forward? And how far?
Forward is yeah, so it's like I
Forward's
guess
fine.
like this much. Oh, this is a lot. This is like almost 45 degrees.
So forward has freedom and back is like limited.
Well, I mean, there's the way I'm thinking about it, there's freedom and there's like a 45-degree range of freedom.
Mhm.
That stops at what am I? I'm not quite at 90.
Mm.
Like the truth is I can go down, but I'm bending my waist, not my back. So let's say if I keep my waist straight, it's like this.
Mhm. So there's
Okay,
the
that's not 45, that's like 20.
there's the range where I might call like free range of motion, and then there's the limit. And it seems like for you to be in the like what you call the like straight neck posture is outside of the comfortable free range of motion.
Yeah. It's outside of my range of motion.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And just because we're in the neck, is there anything else like down the shoulders or along the upper back that is like tense or tight or uncomfortable?
So it goes down the spine, but it's like straight, like it's the rector spinae. So like the thin the muscles like right next to the spine.
Mm,
It goes down. It like hurts about like I guess to like sternum level
mm.
on the back. But that one feels it's a lot because they're doing a lot of supporting in positions that they shouldn't be in.
Right. It's all connected in some sense. The
Yeah,
muscle.
it feels very secondary.
Mm,
Those ones. And so like that's another thing that's going on is like for whenever I get these, which I don't get that much, but more now that I have young kids. um the like it's like very you gotta be very careful not to like mess up the secondary stuff because
mm.
like you get an injury and then like the injury itself is not necessarily like the injury itself this sucks, but I think it's gonna be mostly gone by tomorrow. But
Mm.
like if I don't like if I play it wrong, then I'm gonna secondarily injure myself. And then um that stuff can take longer.
For long-term damage.
Yeah, and then you start acting weird in response to that, and then you know,
Yeah, knock-on effects. Lots of
it's
knock-on
like
effects.
yeah, it's like if you injure one arm, like you need treatment on the second arm after like a day because your second arm is doing all kinds of stuff that it's not used to be doing.
Try brushing your teeth with the wrong arm. Yeah. Ooh,
Which
weird.
try doing everything all day with the wrong arm, right? Like that's the thing that gets you.
Right. Okay. So what's going on now with the location and the surrounding area?
Um, it's still there, it's still pretty stiff. Like I'm having a natural tendency to try to keep it as straight as possible. Just because like you got to keep your spine straight, right? That way it's messing up all the muscles. And by straight, I mean like the natural straightness, not
Hmm.
not crazy straightness.
Right. There's a there is an exercise that might be interesting. Have you ever done Alexander techniques type stuff?
I think we did a little bit on one of the episodes.
Okay, so
I will say I'm not it.
there's a little exercise. It sort of comes out of Alexander technique. It also comes out of sort of dance and ballet teaching, which is if you imagine that there is a balloon tied to the top of your head, and there's like just a very thin string gently pulling upwards on your head, and just invite your head to sort of float upwards along with that, like just a tiny little force on the head, so that the head is kind of like floating as opposed to resting on the spine. How's that?
That helps a little bit. It feels like it's like it feels like that technique is like finding the sweet spot for the muscles.
Right. Yeah.
But the problem is the sweet spot's in a bad spot.
Right. The sweet spot's got pain, or
Well, now I have like pain at the lower, at like my mid back, because it
Mm,
feels like all the muscles are like, okay, so we'll all do what we want to do, but it's like leveraged in the wrong position so that it's on my back. A problem. Other thing is I'm in this new chair that doesn't really go back so far.
right.
The other chair used to like lean back all the way.
Mm. Okay. So we've got we've slightly improved, but we've also moved the pain around. It sounds like we're getting middle spine.
Yeah, like the truth is I could move the pain around just by adjusting how my body is. But I don't you know what, actually this is helpful.
I was gonna say, okay, just do more of that. Like move the pain around with body adjustments. Like, oh,
Yeah, okay, so I'm imagining like a balloon tied to my head.
Mhm.
And so it's like all the force of a helium balloon,
Which is not much, but a
which
little.
is very little.
Right. And there's a reason we're doing very little, because we're not trying to yank the head up. We're just trying to add a little bit more floatiness.
Yeah.
If you get dizzy, that's a good sign. It's like, oh, I'm doing it.
Easy.
It feels a
I
little.
started getting like there was like like a flash of I guess euphoria or something. I started thinking about other
Mm.
things like getting distracted.
Right. So there are all these somatic states that come up as we like change the physical condition of the body. The psyche goes like, ah, some space here. That's nice. Or it might suddenly feel a bit dizzy because our inner ear thing in our head that controls our balance is, if it's suddenly a little bit more floaty, it can be confusing, it can be surprising.
Yeah, I do kind of feel floaty.
But that's good. Like ultimately, if the head and neck are pushing down on the spine, that's like you can pinch a nerve like that. You can like feel the weight of the world in the like upper neck, when really we kind of want the whole body to support itself in a stack. And
Yeah.
the body isn't changing weight, but it's like better dynamically supported by the whole stack.
Yeah. This is a good technique. Like feeling floaty.
Mhm.
I don't know what this is useful for. I guess like for physical pain,
It's useful for
like for body pain.
sort of inviting the body to find its comfort points.
Yeah. The problem is like it feels like I'm starting to slur my words and like a sort of drunk, dissociative.
Right, but that's also a relaxation quality. And in my experience, there's a need to get used to that phenomena, and then the words come back to normal. And like there's some tiredness here, right? Along with the slurring words. So there's a need
Yeah.
to come back to like get used to that, and then like turn up the energy a bit so that we're back to normal, like rebalance it. But at least
Yeah.
there's no pain.
This is like a good way to slow people down. You know what? I think I might try this in my next group.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Because yeah, you start to do this and then you tell people to go slow. And like,
They're like, what do you mean by slow?
no. But that's the thing is like, you don't tell them to go slow. You just give them the excuse. You just give them permission to be
Mm.
going slow because like you want to go slow here. Like I don't want to talk a lot. I wish there was like 10 people here so I could like talk as a tenth as much.
Mm. Well, is there a relaxation with that as well?
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. That's good. Hopefully towards those muscles that were feeling the pain.
Yeah, I think so. It's
Mm.
like the main concern that I always have is like getting into the right position so that I'm not continuing to injure myself. So it's like always that's like kind of like my modus operandi always is like less like healing what's going on, but get into like the right position where you're not continuing to cause damage and
Mm.
then heal. And then take your time, heal, do all the stuff you need to do.
Mm.
But
I
like
can give
get
you my hunch on that. My hunch would be that what you want is the body, like the weight of the body to pass straight down through the spine. Where if you imagine, if you like lean your head forward, like your head will feel heavier because it's no longer supported by the spine. And now, like, I have to hold it up with all my neck muscles rather than if I position it like right in the center on top of the spine, it'll start to
yeah.
feel almost weightless because that weight passes directly down. And so I'm
Yeah.
not bothered by it at all.
Yeah, normally that's how I'm trying to do it. I'm like trying to because like your bones stack on each other. So
Mhm.
like your muscles shouldn't be doing anything except for stabilization.
Um,
Except for your knees. You want to bend your knees slightly.
my sense is uh, the fascia is holding as well. Like there's a centered in the posture type
Yeah,
sense.
that's not really what I meant.
The fascia, as well as like the fascia is also dynamically holding. Many of the muscles aren't active because the fascia is taking the load and spreading it all through the body so that you can be as passive as possible. Because we're as humans, we're always trying to conserve energy, trying to relax and be comfortable. And so we're trying to expend as little energy as possible while doing the things we're doing, the sitting up or whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
So some of that weight is taken through the spine and some of it is supported by the fascia and
Yeah,
muscles.
that's not what I meant. The way your spine is designed is that it's bones stacked on top of each
Mm,
other,
right.
right? So if everything like in perfect conditions, you could just have a skeleton with like the I guess the little joints
Mm,
and it would just stay there, right?
got a bit of
But
cartilage.
like
Yeah.
yeah, like real life it doesn't work that way. And so the muscles are there to stabilize and then like and the fascia is there to stabilize as well. You're
Mhm.
right. But fascia I don't think can well whatever.
It's a complicated one.
Let's not talk about fascia.
That's a rabbit hole of fascia.
Yeah, there's like what modern science says, and then there's what Elliot says, and they're different.
Appreciate it. I'm glad we've got the Elliot version, and rather than the like schools of massage to talk about fascia, or the alternative medicine that talks about fascia, or the like sports science that talks about fascia, it's
No,
the Elliot
the
method.
school, yeah,
Make it
the
up.
massage. No, the massage stuff, like the massage stuff in Canada, massage is a regulated healthcare.
Yep.
They're a regulated healthcare practitioner,
Mhm.
and that's the modern. They're the experts on them and physios and are kind of the experts on manual. Well, they're the massage is the experts on manual stimulation of
Mm,
fat of soft tissue, which includes fascia.
mm.
So that is actually the like the standard thing. But then you have another thing that's not that.
I have an extension of that, and there are some schools of massage that uh, see the fascia as quite an active part of the body, and the Western medicine model sees the fascia as like random goop that doesn't really do much.
No, Western medicine doesn't see fascia as no, that's not no. Okay, it's not goop and it does do stuff. It doesn't it's not that active. But like bones are not that active either, but they're really important. And like joints, right? Like because the fascia doesn't is not innervated by blood vessels, so it doesn't change very quickly.
Right. All right. How are you feeling? How's it going now?
But
Still.
they do transmit stuff. And they do definitely do stuff.
Mhm.
How's it going? It is. It's feeling better. It's still like the pain has moved now. Now it's like lower. It's like lung. Like it's hard to breathe in my like my left side.
Mhm. Is there
I hate
more?
the sensation. You know what? I think this is the way it naturally progresses,
Hmm. Like
and
as it.
it seems to be doing it quicker. Yeah, because like I have gotten these injuries before. I don't even know what it is. It's like a stiff neck, and then it sucks for like a day or two, and then it eases up.
Hmm.
I don't know. It happens every like
So
couple years.
to me, it looks like you're doing a little bit more of the floating exercise,
Yeah,
adjusting the body underneath the floating head. And so we've
yeah. When I'm not getting distracted by what I'm saying, I'm
yeah,
trying to mentalize that.
right. So my story is like we're sort of resetting the body posture head first. So we make the head sort of free and floating, and then the sore bit sort of move down, and then we like make that bit sort of floaty, and then the sore bit moves down, and then we make that bit sort of floaty, and we're sort of adjusting. You know, this muscle gets a bit tighter, this one gets a bit looser, and we're sort of like resetting the posture a little bit. That's a story I have. May or may not be true.
Yeah, no. It's definitely changing the posture. The thing is, like, like the posture wasn't the bottleneck because, or I guess the posture is the bottleneck, but like I couldn't do the posture because I couldn't straighten out and stiffen.
Mm.
And this exercise, it did yeah, like it transferred the pain. Like the pain is much worse now than it was when we started.
Oh, interesting.
Um, but it's lower down.
Mm. It's
And
moved
like,
moved where it is.
yeah, it's moving down. And
Okay.
it feels like if I could like move it down like all the way to my core, um, like whatever, my core it's much bigger and stronger than the pain. So it's not that
Mm.
big a deal.
So you can sort of balance it out or whatever. Or you'll be
Yeah.
able to support your body.
Yeah. It would, yeah. Like, so like if like my core has to support my whole body, that's fine.
Mm.
Right. Like let's just exercise.
Great. Well, keep going. See if you can get it there.
Yeah. It is very uncomfortable. I say it's very unpleasant. I'm kind of glad I took that naproxen.
Mm.
I think this would have been too painful otherwise.
Mm. And there is some possibility that you're going to get to a point and go, well, actually, there's no freedom there. And we'll have to like reverse back up the chain and then go down a different path. But we're kind of letting the body sort itself out.
Yeah, like I can always tap out and just lie down and like end the episode and then lie down.
Mm.
So I'm not that concerned. Yeah, this is very painful. It's like
What
in my back and
is
my
it like
lungs.
sharp?
Um, no, it's like a muscle pain.
Oh, like a DOMS, like I've overworked this muscle, or
I haven't had DOMs in like
okay. Or is it like a like this muscle is really tight?
I don't think I get DOMs really. I get like a little bit, but not really.
Mhm.
Um,
So where are we located right now, as well?
no, it's not DOMs. It's not DOMs. It's
Back of the rib cage, bottom rib.
yeah, so there's like a point like right like in my back. So I think let's say like mid scapular region.
Mhm.
So scapula are the like the wing, the flat bones on your back and your shoulder, like your shoulder blades. That's what they're
Yep.
called. So like middle of there. Shoulder blades. I forgot that word.
And then is it just that one, or is there other spots?
Yeah, it's in the middle. That one's the worst. The rest of the stuff is either numb or just less bad.
Okay, so for shoulder blade, is there somewhere? My story is shoulder blades are connected to arms. So is there some way that you
So
can?
it's not the shoulder blade, it's the spine. It's just that
Oh, next.
area, that location.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like so
Mm,
people can visualize.
mm. So do you think it wants to move down? You were saying.
Well, I want it to move down.
Well, like just check. Does it want to move up or something? Because that would be, I don't know. You think it would feel
uh
comfortable if it were lower?
yeah, it's in this very uncomfortable spot. It's like, is it? It was hurting my, yeah, my ribs feel tender, like my rib cage
Mhm.
like feels tender and it's like hard to breathe.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna try breathing deeply.
Mm. So in terms of uh, some of the traditions call this quality of energy that comes from the breath prana. So we're going to breathe in the rib cage and see if we can bring some energy in that will help it move around or readjust or have more possibility to reorganize itself comfortably.
Interesting. I'm thinking of like the Western way would say, like those muscles are muscles of secondary respiration
Mhm.
around there, like around the rib
Muscles,
cage. And
the ones between the ribs. Yep.
yeah, so they're so like your main when you breathe, the muscle you're supposed to mostly use is your diaphragm. And it's like a big muscle and it's like designed for breathing. But then you have like the muscles around the rib cage that can like help with micro adjustments. And so sometimes people will start to breathe, they'll use the muscles, the secondary respiration, and then that causes all kinds of crazy problems
Right.
because they're not meant to be used that much.
Well, so we have two main breathing patterns. One uses the diaphragm at the bottom of the rib cage, and the diaphragm pulls down and air moves into the lungs. And the second breathing pattern is the rib cage moves forwards or opens out, or the ribs open up. And
Yeah.
the relaxed, calm breathing is the one that uses the diaphragm. Talk about belly breathing, that sort of thing. And the like stressed out breathing is the one that uses the rib cage. That like I have to sprint really quick, so I'm going to have to take a couple of really quick deep breaths. I'm going to use the rib cage, not use the diaphragm. So it's useful as a we call it like fight or flight, and so it's really handy to have that. But if you overuse it, if that's your permanent way of being, you never get rest, and you're probably killing yourself from stress, anxieties. So if you can shift to that, when we're talking about meditation practice, breathing practices, we want to shift to that uh, parasympathetic, the more relaxed breathing pattern, which is using more like the diaphragm than the rib cage. But it sounds like we have a dysfunction in the way that the rib cage is working right now. So we're playing with it now. We're trying to take a deep breath with the rib cage on purpose to see if we can help it adjust. I also think I can talk about what I'm doing here. So as Daniel is doing this and feeling this and exploring like slight micro adjustments that the body is doing, I am paying attention to my body and what it feels like. And I am, as he describes the location and the sensation, I am paying attention to that location and checking if I have a similar sensation or if there's, what does that part of my body want to do in response? Does it do the same thing? And does it want, like, am I feeling like my rib cage is free flowing or is mine rigid and stuck? And if mine is rigid and stuck, I'll probably respond relationally in a way that is like, let's not talk about this. Right. But if mine is free flowing and relaxed, it's going to give him permission to explore letting his be free flowing and relaxed. And it's not always the case that it's a mirror, but I'm trying to be present to my body and just check that sensations in my body when they mirror him are doing what they need to do. So I've had like some heat move around and I've had some tingles move around. And I'm also wondering if my neck is sore or anything as we're doing it. It's kind of like a good relational, just checking. How are you feeling now? What are you noticing?
The pain has gone down,
Oh, that's good.
but like there's a stiffness.
Okay.
And
Is
the
that
thing is like it's almost like I'd rather the pain than the stiffness.
okay. What is
Um
where's the stiffness, first of all?
Now it's lower.
Okay.
Like it's the pain is starting to move down.
Okay.
Oh shit. Yeah. It's not like it's starting to move down. It's like that part readjusts. Like I
Mhm.
just noticed it happening. That part readjusts so it's comfortable, and then the next part starts to hurt because it's
Right. The
uncomfortable.
next part down, like you refer the discomfort to the next part down as it adjusts.
Well, yeah, but it's not the pain that's moving. It's like each like section is taking care of themselves, and then that causes pain to the next one. So it's like
Right.
it's a new pain every time.
Mm.
But I guess you could call it as the pain is moving down. Like if I just I guess like if I wasn't paying attention, then it would be the pain moving down.
Mhm.
But I guess pain is always like that. Like pain is always a new thing that wasn't
Right. And this
like it
is
doesn't transfer. It's the thing you do to get out of pain causes pain to other people.
well, I think sometimes we have pain and then later I'm still having pain, and the mind does this thing where I'm like, that's the same pain, and therefore it's a long pain. But actually,
Yeah.
there's probably been lots of interruptions between the pain, there's lots of distractions. But because I'm telling this experiential story about it being the same pain, I'm like more frustrated at it or something. Like it's making me
You start to
it's
create
feeling more
story.
painful
Yeah.
because I've got this long version of pain rather than this like momentary, followed by surprise, a new momentary, followed by surprise, a new momentary.
But yeah, but the other thing, yeah, like if you do it that way, you have a disjointed. Like I see both sides, right? Like if you do each moment as its own thing, each pain as its own unique torture, you get a disjointed experience. But if you
Mm.
do it the other way, then you wind up creating stories or like you create connections that may or may not be there.
Mhm.
So I guess there's always a balance. There's
I see
a
it as a
middle path.
different
Two
strategic
things, right?
approaches. So it depends. Like if it was a good thing, I would want to cohere the story of like all of the wonderful things that are connected. If it's a bad thing,
Oh,
I'm gonna like chop it up and be like, oh, there was just a little bad thing, and then another little bad thing, and then another little bad thing.
oh,
I'm gonna tell the story about how great things are,
this
like
is not
coherent, positive narrative.
this is not my general approach.
Like
But
these are different tools, right? One is to tell the coherence, and the other is to like do individual bits. And the wise person makes application of those methods to reality
yeah,
as they see fit.
yeah, yeah. The only pushback is it's not always this always for good and always this for bad.
Right.
Like it's I
Right.
think there's
So it
I
gets
think
more.
it's more nuanced. But like it could be that this is how you're living your life now. That's fine.
Mm. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, it's hard to breathe in a different way.
Oh,
I don't
interesting.
even know why it's hard to breathe.
Okay. What do you mean by hard to breathe?
Like,
Okay. I have a theory here, a story here that your previously habitual breathing pattern used the bit of the body that's currently in pain. And so now you can't like pull on it because it's currently hurting. And so you're breathing, you have to form a breathing pattern that goes around that bit while it's in pain.
yeah, that does seem to fit the sensations.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's true, but it doesn't seem to be untrue so far.
Right. But we're going to continue to explore. So are we moving further down yet?
Yeah.
Okay. And while we're doing that, how's the neck? Is the neck better or?
The neck the neck is like tender instead of stiff,
Okay.
which is like good, but it's like it feels much more delicate,
Mm,
but more healing.
right. I mean, delicate might be a signal like I must take care of myself and be gentle on this, but at least it's not,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want to get into boxing ring right now. I think
Right.
it would go very badly.
Right.
Not that I even box, but luckily kids are asleep.
Mhm. Okay. So how far down are we on the in the spine? Are we past the rib cage yet?
No, sorry, there's an alarm going off that
Mm.
it's distracting me. That's the other thing about like these psychotexts that they never tell you. Is like you got to stay paying attention the whole time until it or else you just start
Until,
getting
I would say
to your
until the pattern works its way through your system, or they're like, we have to get to the
yeah,
bottom.
like until it's done.
Well,
Yeah.
we're like halfway through the spine, right? It might need to go all the way to the bottom. I don't know. Or we
Yeah.
might hit one and it'll be like, this is the one that was out this whole time. Now we're
It
back.
feels like I'm yeah, like I got this like little like mini prophecy of like me having to poop in the future.
Well, that's like, some nerve is connected to your gut somewhere. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not I don't think I'm constipated. I think I pooped today. Yeah, it's today. Yeah.
Thanks for the poop updates. I don't
Sorry,
need to
guys.
know. I don't need to
This
know
is
what.
another thing about like parenting with kids is like bodily functions becomes like very everybody needs to know what's going on. Right? Because like
Okay,
with
all
them,
right. Now I get it. It's because you have to you want the kid to say, I need to poop. And you need that to happen all the time.
yeah. So first it's like making sure that they're pooping, and then now it's like we're thinking of like potty training. So it's like gotta be this has got to be common knowledge that everybody talks about their poops and pees and stuff.
Mm.
Um,
You also they need help on the toilet. So when they need the toilet, you kind of need to go and watch.
yeah, and they need to develop the awareness and like the motivation to potty train.
Right.
So like that's like a whole thing that we're gonna be doing soon.
Mm.
So the whole thing is like
Kid stuff.
it's like living in this like alternate world with like alternate social norms.
Mm. All right. What are you feeling now? Is it still pain or?
um yeah, so my rib is hurting. It's not going, I think it's going back up.
Mhm. Like I said, there's a possibility that, we hit a block, we have to go all the way back up, try it up there, and then go back down again.
Yeah, you did say that, and I did scoff, and now I think it's happening.
It's almost like I've done this before.
Well, no, it was like, oh, those are for other people. I'm gonna do it right the first time.
Right.
But fuck yeah, that hurts. Sorry, guys. I swear. Oh, man. Yeah, it's like really painful. I wouldn't be doing this if you weren't here.
Mm. Where,
I would just be lying in bed and letting it sort itself.
mm. where do you feel it?
So, um, yeah, it's like digging in. It's like somebody like got me with a knife in the back of the lungs,
Mm.
in the back, and it's like pierced the lung. I hate that sensation.
Right. And like I have a general rule for I'm gonna say all sensation, but makes more sense with pain. Pain is often like an alarm clock in that sense. We keep trying to hit the snooze button on the pain, but what you actually want to do is like put your attention directly on the pain and feel the pain, because there's information in the pain that when you feel the pain, it goes like, oh, I've delivered my message. I can turn off the alarm. But when we look away from it, it's like us trying to hit the snooze button or try and like leave the room.
Yeah.
Alarm's going off, and it's like, wait a second. And this is like a crazy proposal, right? Because things are painful, and I'm like, look at the pain and feel the pain. So only a little bit at a time, as much as you can handle. But if you can move towards the pain, that's gonna help. Seems to help, in my experience, helps the body get in touch with the pain and connect with the pain and do the movements that it needs to do to adjust, to improve the pain. Unfortunately, for people who have been avoiding their pain for a long enough time, it may hurt to do so. It may be painful. It may take a while for that alarm to turn down, but I've had a lot of success with sensations turning down and relaxing by paying attention to them. But you gotta like wherever you feel it, you just gotta pay attention to it and let it move around. And
Yeah. The thing that's like for me now is like paying attention to the pain, is letting me like do the micro adjustments.
right, like the pain is telling you this is bad, try lean forward. This is bad, try lean back. Like, and without that
Yeah.
information, you wouldn't be able to make those micro adjustments. If you kept like trying to ignore the pain, you wouldn't be able to make those adjustments.
Yeah. And it's like so micro and like automatic that it like it feels automatic.
Mm.
So it's like, oh, like I'm like this is like sort of how a lot of times where I think of meditating, where you're like paying attention to something, like your attention is on something and then things just happen. But like all those things are like you doing it. It's just like sub-awareness.
Mm.
So it just feels like it just feels like it's happening by itself.
Mm.
Yeah, like there's no instructions you can see. Like the instructions you're giving me are creating the space that lets the micro adjustments happen. Like
Right.
there's no way I can convey like there's no way I can convey this information.
And I say like pay attention and
I'm
listen.
not even really super aware of it either.
They're pretty open instructions for like, and what are you noticing now? Like if you, at some point you might say, I'm noticing that I'm tensing up this muscle here, and be like, oh, well, okay, why are you doing that? Or like, are you sure you want to be tensing it? And then you'd be like, oh, I guess I could release it. And then like, oh, that feels better. But
Yeah.
many of the instructions are like, what do you notice? And like, how do you feel? And somatic method. Is the pain
Yeah,
moving?
you're more like directing the attention versus the actions.
Right. I'm not like put your hand up, and I did say that, but that was only a temporary. Like, what happens if you try it like this? Or
Yeah. I realize like I do this in regular life, and like I think like sometimes people are just like don't understand what's going on. Where I'm like trying to direct attention, where I'm like oh, like look over here, and then people are like and do what? I'm like no, just look like, and then what's happening here, and like that like just sort of asking questions until their attention catches, and then they'll like catch up like oh this. I'll be like good. What do you see? Like I need to know that. Like I need that information of what you see when you look at this thing.
mm,
Because like it's and then I got like a it feels like a mirror, like a 90-degree mirror where I'm like I need to see around this corner, and so I like bounce it off of
right.
someone else.
That's perspective. Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
All right, what are you feeling now?
um yeah, I'm feeling much like something I noticed, like not even to do with this, just I feel like I'm more freer in my expressing.
Mm,
I don't know if this is something that you've been noticing,
just like the word
or
choice.
like lighthearted. Huh?
Oh, interesting.
Like I feel more lighthearted, and I don't mean that like literally lighthearted. I mean like that like that like vibe,
Mm.
or that energy, like
So
when someone's lighthearted.
my story would be, we lifted the head just a tiny bit, and then we've done all of these micro adjustments to like starting down the rib cage. So we literally created space in there somewhere, and that's the thing that humans generally call lightheartedness may be somatically connected to somewhere around the heart and feeling like a lightness there. And so you're, noticing it, and we are back propagating the like, oh, I notice I'm more chill, I'm more lighthearted, on top of this change of sensation around the rib cage. Super.
Yeah.
That's my story. Story's a
Yeah,
story.
but also we've been streaming together, so there's like how
It's good
far in are we?
vibes.
Yeah, we're like 45 minutes, so it's already like when we hit like second like flow.
Hmm.
This is like a more flowy about this time anyway.
Mhm. Hmm. Good vibes. Good chill.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's like a bunch of thoughts that are like coming to mind of like things I want to say that I know that I normally hold back. Yeah, this kind of makes sense. I think I've been like holding a bunch of things back, like in my mind.
I'm like laughing because I'm like, this is the part where I get to say, I told you so. You were like,
You know what? Yeah.
there's no way. This is just like my physical body is. So I'm like, let's just throw some psychotherapy at it. Let's just see, what's under there. Like the worst that'll happen is like maybe we'll feel something. Like, okay, there's a bunch of stuff you've been holding back.
Yeah.
And here's my current running hypothesis. You that holding back phenomena that was a mental move has become a somatic
Yeah.
holding back, like a clench in the
Yeah.
posture.
Yeah. There's definitely like there was definitely a stress response of like, yeah, like like some sort of something.
Mm-hmm.
And like as this, I guess, so like my story is the causes the other is the way of like, well, we're doing the body stuff and then the all like the things are coming forth.
Right. Well, my story is we've loosened the body, and so the things that we were holding back now have a little more space to be not held back and to pop into
Yeah.
mind. You still haven't said them
Yeah.
out loud, but they've popped out at least.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to say them here because it's just like
They're
there's a
other
couple
parts of
random thoughts. Well, so no, some of them are related to psychotech, but it's like I'm not gonna start a whole different episode right now.
your
Which is like part of the reason I hold back some of the stuff. I'm like, well, this is like a really like juicy thing with a lot of stuff, and we're already middle of something else, so it's gonna like mess up the focus and the concentration.
Right.
It
So
might
if
be
I'm
flow.
like, well, Daniel, I trust that those important ideas will come up. Well, you'll be able to say them at another time. Like we don't want to
Yeah,
suppress. I'm going to
yeah,
invite them up into the psyche, into the space around my head, and we're just going to leave them there, and they'll be back later. They'll
yeah.
alert us later.
Yeah, and like actually like the thing that's like really sticking is like the collective jhana stuff that
Mm,
which we have talked about, but we haven't, I feel like we haven't like progressed on it.
mm.
Um which it's like again like it's not really complaining because we do stuff all like when we're together. So there's just a lot of stuff that needs to be done. There's a lot of stuff that I want to do, I'll say.
Mm. Cool.
Um
That sounds really exciting. I'm so glad we got to dig it up and give it space.
yeah. Yeah, maybe I could talk about it more, but I don't know. Like, maybe you could direct because you're in charge of the container.
Well, how's the pain? Where's the pain?
It's it's definitely lower. The other thing, it's lower and higher. Like some of it went to my head, so it's like some of the top of my head.
Mm.
Um,
Right. So I tend to, anytime things sort of go up the neck, I invite people to let it keep going, like into the space above. Some people,
yeah,
some sensations can, some sensations can't.
yeah. I got a flash of like it's gonna go into the space above my head.
Mm.
I hate it when that place hurts. That one's the worst. Like that like physical space like a foot above your head.
This is
Like
the halo
sometimes
spot.
that hurts.
Mm.
It's like referred pain.
Mm.
I believe it's a trigger point actually.
My story of this is there's probably somewhere in the body, like in probably around the brain, around the upper spine, that is referring up there. And many people have this. And so
Yeah,
in
well it's muscles. So there's the westernish medicine. So like this is massage, which is like kind of half, but it's still I think considered like main western. There's these things called trigger points, which are something in your muscle like that like some of the fibers get swollen or tight or something, and
mm,
then it creates like little nodes. So when you're like doing knots in someone and you feel like these little nodes, and then you push it and then it hurts a lot, so those are trigger points,
mm,
and they will refer pain.
Right.
to different parts, and nobody knows why. But it's
Well, I'll
probably
tell you why
fascia.
nobody knows, because no one's looking at the fascia.
Yeah, it's
Freaking
probably
fascia.
fascia. That's like
Fascia. You know what
like
happens?
the
The
new.
fascia like tightens up into a thing, and there's like one spindle that points out to this other place that's pulling on a nerve, right?
Yeah,
That's
well, it doesn't even have to be a spindle because it transmits tension,
right,
right?
right.
So it could just be like just the way the fascia is, the tension is in a
So
way
as
that
you
touches
like,
a
and
nerve somewhere,
yeah,
or moves to the spot, or
this is
like
like
or
strategic.
whatever.
The body is very smart, right? So when we formed that node, we like something was out of place or needed like to be pulled this way, and so we pulled and we formed like a trigger point. And then later, when we want to release that tension, we push on it, and then the pain travels back to the location, and then we have to like work out how to deal with it. Not when we needed it to be like exactly as like I was busy, I was carrying the shopping, and so I had to like tense out to carry all the shopping. Then I get home and like, oh, that was pain, and I've formed a trigger point. I need to like go find the trigger point and release it so that I can
Yeah,
relax my body again. But
yeah,
there's
they do
some
tend to
fashion
form
that
when
was
you're
holding that tension for me and enabling me to like carry all the shopping. That's my
sure. Yeah, they do tend to form when like weaker muscles are doing things that's too weak for them, and in not like a cardinal motion kind of way. So like strength training is like it's actually like a really good way of just preventing
right,
trigger
because
points.
you're strong enough and you don't need to form these nodes to like support.
Yeah, like everything just stops being problematic.
Okay, where's the pain now?
Um,
Where are we sitting? Because like there is an interesting thing here that it takes time for the thing to move from vertebrae to vertebrae or rib to rib to like do that adjustment. So like this whole process takes time. You can help it with like a hot shower because then the whole body's a bit warmer and can kind of
yeah,
like,
so that helps relax the muscles, the heat.
and that can help the transfer of the thing inch by inch. But
Well, so when the muscles like all relax, then like yeah, like then the blood flow goes and they stop doing things, and
mm,
then they kind of just get a little bit weaker, I find, but like everything works properly, and then you can like rebuild that strength.
right. Okay, so where do you feel it now?
It's still there, like it's still in the back,
Mm,
but I'll be honest, like it's much better. Like my spine is much straighter than when we started.
mm,
Um,
great news.
yeah, I do feel like I have more range of motion, and the range of motion is better. Like it's my spine is much straighter, which is like which is less strenuous. Oh, interesting. I got like this flash of blaming the part of my back that's, I guess, like my sternum on the back,
Mm.
where it's like, well, you're the one that started this whole thing because you were like slightly too forward, and now everyone else is like suffering because of that. We're all
Mhm.
out of alignment,
Right.
which is not nice. We shouldn't blame.
It's
We
kind of like
should,
our job to be compassionate and open and curious to when
yeah,
we're like holding the container for our body.
yeah.
I'm sure it had a necessary
Let's,
reason to be further forward, like it was doing something else entirely that no one else was doing.
yeah, let's acknowledge that my survival depends on this vertebrae and muscle cluster doing its job.
Mm.
And yeah, like we're all on the same team, we're all in the same boat together. We're not going to blame you, but you are out of alignment and we're here to help.
Hmm. That
Yeah.
feels, we're here to help feels generous. And we're like, the question is like, what do we need to do for like much of Daniel's upper back to help organize, to help everyone be happy? And by everyone, I mean all of the somatic characters that we're inventing momentarily so we can talk to them.
That's really nice. It's still causing pain,
Well,
but it's more of a like I can't do that. Like
right.
I'm trying my best. It's like the image of a child like crying and like in the dirt, like
Right.
trying
So
my best.
maybe it's like I can't do that yet. We need more of the body online and adjusting would be my hunch.
Well, it's like keeping the situation pretty neutral. So yeah, it feels like the rest of it is like around it is like now trying to compensate, like to it's like to keep the tension a certain level, but to not like within range. So it's like we're not going to take on all the like you're still suffering and you're still going to suffer. But it's we're going to reduce the amount of suffering to something that you can handle
Mm.
while you get your shit together. That
There's a
feels
lot.
better. It's there's a pain there and it hurts a lot, but it doesn't have that like mental anguish as much as before.
Mm. That's huge. Like if we can give you some more mental space. See, I can feel the like I'm sort of tracking which muscles and which parts of the body are activated. And I can feel something wrapping around from the back of the spine to like wanting to come to the front as well. Like bring the front into this conversation and the activity of like, well, how do we something or other?
I feel like the front is like sort of the like downstream of the spine.
Right. Okay. I mean, it might just be me.
But maybe the breathing.
Mm.
Like the spine shouldn't be breathing.
Like the front should be breathing, not the back. More the front than the back.
It's just your like your diaphragm, and then that displaces your stomach. Like
Mm.
that's how you should breathe.
Well, unless
Like
you're
everything else is doesn't it's not relevant.
unless you're needing that emergency breath that uses the rib cage.
Yeah, I don't think you're right about that exactly. Because like if you're doing that quick breathing, you're probably hyperventilating.
Uh, this is a longer conversation of like if I take a sudden like that's mostly using the rib cage to
Yeah, you shouldn't really be breathing like that. Like
right.
I'm not saying never, right? Like if you're coughing, you're gonna be doing that.
Right.
But
I
like
agree.
you
I
shouldn't.
agree. And I also think that people habitually end up in like rib cage breathing and
Yeah, and they shouldn't be doing that. And I don't mean this to be judgy. I mean this is like just factual.
mm,
And I'm also saying this to myself. I shouldn't be doing this. I should be maybe should's bad word. I am
I would like to be doing.
I am breathing through my stomach. I want something stronger than I like. I'm noticing like I am tensing every time I'm talking.
Mm. Maybe that's an interesting question. When you make talking sounds, where does it feel like they come from? Like obviously they come out of the throat and the voice box and then out of the mouth. Where where do they start?
It was starting in my ribs.
Now it's much deeper.
No, it's deeper.
Right.
Do I sound weird when I talk like this?
It sounds like the voice resonates with the body more, which is cool. And I suspect it's like if you want to be a deep person, resonate with the deeper parts of your like lower towards the bottom of the belly.
I want to be a deep person.
Right. And then we're speaking from the deeper parts of ourselves, hopefully.
I am a deep person and I want to express myself deeply.
Mm. And then the rest of my being has to like on top of it, like the shallow bits, the intellectual bits, they need to work out how to like get on board with like we're doing the deep things now. We're being serious and real.
It's is the social that blocks it. I
That
fear
like
other people will judge me.
that like rib cage, like social,
Yeah,
relational, emotional.
yeah.
Mm. Well, that's
But
okay.
social should come from from the stomach. That's the social chakra.
Complicated. There's stuff to work through here. Maybe like maybe not right now, but there's a whole bunch of stuff of like. I mean, I'm running through this like get in touch with some somatics and like explore around and move around. This is a permanent way of being. I know this is just like a one session for you, but this is a way of life of like being in touch with the body, the sensation, these little micro adjustments, constantly making space for the body to resolve any tension that it's finding. Like there's a whole way of being, there's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
If you ever meet like a masterful practitioner, they like glide through a room because they are always like a dancer is always dancing. A like body worker is always in their body. There's like something magical to having a body that they're doing that I'm definitely not. Like I'm better than the average person, but I'm not like masterful. I just switch it on
hmm.
sometimes.
Maybe I should hang out with these people.
Mm.
The thing is, I don't think it seems like something that wouldn't work well online.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of worked now, but
That's true. But like, if you weren't here, I would not have the patience to sit through this.
right. And there's definitely more that can be done in person because there's a more like a relational experience. Like I can feel other people closer. I can actually touch and adjust someone's posture in person, which is also pretty helpful and powerful. But regardless of that, like something is possible over online. Like you've had to be saying like I say where is it and you say it's here and I say where is it and you say it's here. Like it moves around and we can like do something. But yeah, there's other things available in person.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm still skeptical of this.
It just worked. I don't know what.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just sharing my mental state.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Uh, all right. Maybe we gotta like let you yawn a bunch more and get tired and like yeah. Thanks for playing. Thanks for playing as a skeptic.
Yeah,
And like yeah, I hope you learned something or I hope that you can apply that, listening to your body in some sense, paying attention to the pain. There's a whole bunch of tools there.
yeah, yeah. I love if people give us feedback on this episode and were
Yeah.
they able to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's people watching. We have a couple of viewers. So thanks.
Yeah,
You want to wrap?
yeah,
Yawning.
yeah. I was yawning.